What's up folks, it's Jang here from ultimaterc.com, and obviously I have here the Axial AX10 Ridgecrest, well at least the box that contains it. Just got this in today. I actually ordered this thing, pre-ordered it from Tower Hobbies the day that it was announced, and they didn't get them in stock until just this week, which was really frustrating for me because a lot of folks out there already have been driving their Ridgecrests for a while, and not even sponsored folks, just regular folks who've gotten them from their local hobby shops and whatnot. And Tower has been kind of failing me on the pre-orders lately with the timing, and I'm not too happy about that. It's funny, they actually got these in stock about 2 days after I rage canceled my pre-order back order, and actually ended up ordering this one off eBay from the eBay store RC Boys with a Z, and came here, probably got this even after canceling the pre-order, probably got this sooner than I would have gotten it from Tower. So let's check out what's inside. All right, let me get the uninteresting stuff out of the way first. Paperwork, manual, yay, and some big stickers for your full-scale car. They're way too big for the RC. And then some extra parts on some parts trees, mostly plastic stuff, plus a T-wrench, and some of these can be used as spares. Some of them cannot. They're just extra parts that weren't used on this particular build. So yay there. And then here's the radio set. Oh, it actually feels like they have a better grip on here now. It's a nice soft urethane feeling foam. This is one of those FlySky FSGT2 style of controllers, and this one has trims and steering dual rate and reversing, but 2.4 gigahertz, always a good thing, and it takes just 4 AA batteries, not 8, so that's good. Feels good in the hand. I tend to like these. I don't know why this one feels better than the last. Like I said, the grip feels better. Everything, I don't know. At first glance, I was like, just another one of those, but this one feels like an improvement to me. Oh well. And then here's the vehicle itself, the AX10 Ridgecrest. They call it the AX10, but I wouldn't really call it an AX10. It's just a name there. It's much closer to the Wraith. It's like a short wheelbase Wraith. It fully has the Wraith axles, front and rear, as well as the Wraith wheels and tires that were included with that one on the RTR. So it's a very wide vehicle. It's much wider than the original AX10s always were, which is good for side hilling stability. And these wheels and tires are quite large in diameter. They're some of the tallest available for a 2.2 inch size with 12 millimeter hexes on them, but these are the ready to run compound, so it's not the sticky R35 compound. These are decent tires. They're not great, you know, they're definitely gonna last forever, but these are definitely something that I recommend replacing RTR tires. It's always the same deal with RTR tires. They're never going to be, or they're almost never great. There's going to be definitely a polarizing response. There already has been a polarizing response to the body style. I personally like the body style, although I wish that they gave you actual windows instead of just these stickers on here, especially since they use the silver, which just looks The print job on it I like, but the overall, it's kind of like a Isuzu Mu style to the body shape, but you know, it's all chopped up. They have partial roll cage around the fenders. It's integrated in with the bumper, both the front and rear bumpers. I kind of like the look of it. It's down pretty low. You know, they got the runners are pretty low to the ground, all things considered. I like the style of it. I hope that they will come out with the clear version of this so we can paint it up ourselves and open up the windows and maybe put a little bit of interior detail in there and whatnot. But beyond that, let me go ahead and take off this questionable body. Some people like it, some people hate it. And check out what's underneath. Now, like I said, short wheelbase version of the Wraith, basically, with the axles and the driveline. The driveline also came out of the AX10. It does have the full gear cover like the Wraith did. This one actually has an additional option, or a couple options here for the upper links. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that. That's something that the Wraith did not have. So even though they are plastic links, they do give you some options here for adjusting how your angle of your axle changes as it goes through its range of motion. So you can actually move these links up or down. So that's a nice little option. And these are actually add-on pieces. These blocks right here are add-on pieces. So I would expect to see some aftermarket support there for folks that are companies that create not an entire new chassis, but just these pieces here, either in aluminum or hopefully aluminum with some design changes to give you even more options still. The overall design of this chassis, as you can see, it's a tube frame chassis. It's very compact, but it is specifically designed to hold your battery up top. The battery tray is up here, top and towards the rear. Unfortunately, it would have been nicer if they put it towards the front, if anything, if they're going to put it up so high. But I'm sure you could turn that upside down and actually mount your battery underneath. You can use a standard sized 2-cell regular hard case pack, or a soft case pack, or preferably get something smaller, because these vehicles really don't need the big size pack. But if you do only have the big packs, you don't need to get a new one. You can just drop it right in here, which is a great thing for folks who are just getting started, maybe aren't into the crawling world yet and just have regular 10th scale standard sized packs. This does let you use that. Electronics wise, there's a brushed motor in here, just like with the Wraith RTR. It's a silver can, closed, sealed end bell, non-rebuildable. And then they have the castle built brushed only ESC here. And it is something that you can hook up to a Castle Link programmer. You can hook it up to the USB port with an additional adapter that's not included with the set. So you can adjust some things with that ESC. So that's a nice thing. And as brushed ESCs go, it's a cheap one, but it definitely does its job. I've continued to use mine. I took it out of my Wraith when I got my Wraith RTR, but continued to use it in other vehicles, and it works out just fine. Now the Servo, I noticed, says AS3 on it. The Servo that came with the Wraith RTR was an AS2. I looked up the specs as best I could find them online. There's not a whole lot of information about these yet, but it sounds like the torque is the same. I don't yet know what the difference is between the two servos, but I do know that my AS2 burnt out on my Wraith in perfectly stock form. Hopefully this one will do better, and we will see. Back is the waterproof receiver box, although the Servo is not waterproof, and the ESC is also not waterproof, but they mounted it with the top facing backwards, hoping that a lot of spray and dust and dirt and stuff that comes up from the front tires would not get directly into it. So hopefully you can drive it through some splashes, but it's really not waterproof. So if you do want to drive through water, you will need to keep that in mind, and preferably do something to protect both your servo and your ESC. What else do we have going on here? The shocks are the same off the Wraith, and they've got, they're plastic bodied. They have threaded collars on the outside, so you can adjust your ride height. They do have titanium nitride coated shafts, so that's a good thing. These do feel nice and soft, so it feels like they've got the pistons trimmed properly inside of there. Very little stiction. Decent shocks, especially for RTR. It's pretty good quality and has the good adjustability to it. You do have 3 mounting points at the top, both for your front and rear for your shocks. No different options down at the bottom. You've only got the one mounting position. Without a battery in here, let me just do this. Hey, not too bad. Looking at about, what is that? Without a battery, I'd say it's about a 30-degree angle, thereabouts. With a battery, I could probably get that up to around a 40 degree angle, something like that. So nice articulation out of the box. Not too much for sure, and the amount is not too little. I think they actually got the stock set up a little bit better with this than with the Wraith. I just felt the skid plate. It feels a little bit narrower, a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter than on the Wraith. I think the width actually overall width may be the same, but it's a little bit shorter. Just in general, a very compact little arrangement here. Although, coming around to this side, looking at it from the back, I can see that they've left it nice and open on the back. This is another improvement versus the Wraith. You've got plenty of room to put a longer motor can in here. I'm not sure how well that's going to come across on video right here, but hopefully you can see it from that angle. There are no obstructions. The Wraith actually had its mounts, its lower link mounts were up here. They're actually in the way. So to fit a 550 can in there, certain longer motors you actually had to trim away, and I had to do that on mine. I had to trim away from the inside edge of the lower link, inner link mounts. So definitely a bunch of improvements, I'd say, overall design improvements compared to the Wraith. The one big thing that's not an improvement, center of gravity and weight distribution with the battery being placed back here. It's actually a little bit further forward. It's definitely further forward than it was on the Wraith, but it's still way up high. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Fortunately, like I said, it does look like you could turn this strap upside down and mount it from underneath, turn it around, and then put it upside down. You can have the longer battery actually sticking out towards the rear a little bit. That's going to be something interesting to look into for $0 mods that you can make to improve the stability of this vehicle. Don't have room in the front like I did with the Wraith to move the battery sideways and kind of on its side at an angle right in here with a full-size battery. Certainly you can do that. You can take a smaller battery underneath, but full-size battery, there's just not enough room. In general, it's a smaller vehicle. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing thus far. They also changed the yokes. I've read they changed the yokes out to actually use a screw pin to go straight through rather than just set screws. But that's just a small incremental change. And another thing that you may notice right here from this angle is that the drive shafts are almost straight as viewed from underneath. So that's yet another improvement where the shafts are not having to bend off at an angle right from the start. The pumpkins are lined up both on one side. So thus far, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing. I think that this will be a better vehicle for general crawling without modifications, for just a light duty crawler than the Wraith was, which is great news because the Wraith was already decent and actually really good with mods, and this one brings in that shorter wheelbase, which means that with even more tuning you should be able to get this thing to crawl quite nicely. That's the Axial AX10 Ridgecrest. I'll be doing plenty of driving with this thing for sure, and hopefully put up some raw driving videos just by itself, and who knows, might even do a little review on this guy. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.